Hello and welcome to turn 1 of Middle Age Ulm in this YouTube multiplayer series. This is me, Balmus, playing as Ulm, and this is the initial start setup. So first off, please write comments and give me helps and tips and things that I don't know. I'm certainly not an expert Dominion player. I've played a bit of it and I'm fairly comfortable with Ulm, but if you do have comments and suggestions, please tell me. But do note that we ourselves aren't allowed to watch other people's YouTube videos of what they're doing, and please don't post comments that could be considered spoilers or give me its information as to what the others are doing. That's not really what we're about, so please be careful about that. And also appreciate that we are posting these videos with a 5-turn lag, so if you do give a suggestion, I won't be able to access it maybe turn 6 or 7 down the track from when you post it, so there's going to be a large delay. So if you do want to make helpful posts and comments, keep that in mind. And really it's only long-term advice then that could be appropriate, but certainly it would be welcome. In turn 0, I think I rambled on a little bit, maybe not quite as coherently as my overall outlined strategy of what I'm going to do with this race. And let me first go through my actual pretender. I know I talked a lot about the scales and what I chose, but I didn't actually go through exactly what this guy is. He is, of course, Balmus, the eldest dwarf, which obviously raised questions as to who is the younger dwarf, and that was actually another option, right? Ulm has, you can play as the eldest dwarf or the youngest dwarf. I read something of the lore, and basically the younger dwarf, he stole shit from me and went into the forest and became corrupted, and he has a ring, very Lords of the Ring-ish like, and became a dragon or something, I don't know. But I've got the elder dwarf because of his smithing. That's a big part of it. And he has all these abilities. He's resistant to all these things. I think he's come from the magic scales that I chose for him. And he's got mountain survival and supply bonus, which I don't think is really particularly going to be helpful. What is helpful is this research ability of 40, which is a lot. But I'm not going to have too much application of using this. I will use him to research on turn 1, but that's only because there's nothing else for this guy to do on turn 1. So as Ulm, the army setup I have this guy, Conrad, the commander of Ulm. He is my main commander guy, and I have all these units in one squad. I'm going to put them all far forward. That's basically going to be the setup mostly, and these guys are valuable and they're difficult to replace. So I don't know what shows up in these provinces in guards. So it's too risky for me to just march that small force in. It could just go terribly, and that would set me back ages. So I'm going to not attack on turn 1. I'm just going to recruit some more units to buff out my army and see where that takes me. And then I'll start attacking the weaker provinces and do my cap circle to gain the resources from the adjacent provinces. And I've got to say, I've played a few practice runs on this map, and this start I have is just brilliant. I think I'm in a really strong position. I've got all these mountains which are going to give me tons of resources, and even and farmland. I'm really not quite sure how these interact, because mountains, low income, excellent resources, and then farmland, high income, low resources. So I don't quite know if this becomes neutral or if that's just good, but even if not, I've got mountains all over the place, so I should have enough resources, which is great, because these guys, his pioneers are the guys I'm going to use mostly. They cost 23 resources, which is a lot. If I start hurting for gold, I'll go with the Black Plate Pioneer, which is 33 resources. Same amount of gold, so it all depends on the resources which one I'm going to build. If I'm low on gold, I'll go with the Black Pioneer, because their upkeep depends on how much gold they cost. So they cost the same amount of upkeep, and these are better. And if you don't use resources in the turn you gain them, you just lose them. Gold will persist. So gold is good. The other units that I might use a fair bit is the crossbowmen, and I'll build them later on. It will give me some ability to balance my forces between melee and or ranged. But at the start, I'm just going to go with a bunch of pioneers. I'm going to add more. This happened so many times. I click there for the... Yeah, sometimes when you click there, right, it highlights the guy on the bottom row because his stick is so long. I've done it a bunch of times. You have to click up here to make a big queue, and it doesn't really matter how far I go. I'm going to put that on repeat, even though I'm probably going to go through this in detail, make sure to get everything right all the way through. The infantry of Ulm, I did a bit of reading. These guys are supposed to be better against big beasts and whatnot, but I think I read somewhere on the internet, so it must be true, that regardless, the Vikings just do better. These guys are good. They got a lot of protection, they got a lot of damage, and the length of their pike is great. And if you've got a longer weapon in this game, it means that you get a parry. Effectively, it's a parry ability or a strike first ability. So if someone attacks you, you first get to parry them, and if that fails, then they actually get to do the attack. The infantry of Ulm are also pretty good. They have a big ass shield, so this helps them more against archers. Then they're also nice. I like them. And you can also get this flail guy. And his big thing with the flail is he's just better against enemies with shields. But black pikeneers just work well in almost all situations. So I'm going to start with them, and I'll adjust as necessary. From the leaders, these guys I just don't bother with. They're just priests. They're cheap and they're fine, but and these guys, the black priest as well. Priest level 2, I guess that's something. He's an inquisitor, so this means he has a bonus against preaching away enemies dominion. But for the most part, I'm just going to build these guys, the priest smith. They work as priests, they got research ability, they're sacred, and they're a mundane researcher, which is great because I've got 3 skills in mundane. They've got a resource bonus, which is also good because as Ulm, I should be hurting for resources, although in my starting location that might not actually be an issue. So we'll see how that goes. But these are going to be my primary researchers. They're also going to be my primary spellcasters in battles against the evil undead, which there are a few. There's Agatha and Ermor. They can also do those spells which hurt the undead. So these are also just a great general unit that there will be a lot of application for. They also have a forge bonus of 1, which is, look, it's good. Okay. But as far as forging goes, it's the master smith I'd rather use. I'm going to build back 2 of these guys later on. These will be my forgers. They have a double forge bonus. They're also good researchers, but they're not quite as good as the priest smiths. They got 1 fire and earth 2, and they got this. They got this random magic skill. There is a reasonably small percent of chance to get an extra possible path. Ideally, I would love it if I could get an extra earth into the forge smith, because that just means that opens up a whole slew of different forging options. I've done this in a few runs, and because of I have quite a high earth gem income, plus 5 per month, and it just turns out that I might actually quite likely empower one of my master smiths to get him to earth 3 to unlock those other magic abilities, and then I can start building boots and forge hammers and just go mad with the forging. But if I get lucky, that would be great. Otherwise, I really don't hurt for earth gems so far, especially in the early game. So it's not too much to say, or not too many important decisions to make. This is the builds I'm going to do. Okay, but I just put that on the repeat. Yeah, make sure, and hopefully nothing goes wrong. For commanders, you got all these guys, but they basically all have 80 leadership. And all in all, I don't really see much of a muchness in it. I usually just go for the commander. I should probably go for this guy. I think he has more protection. Protection 21. Protection 18. So I should probably buy this guy. And I will. Slightly more resources, which really isn't important. But really, I just want to get as many priest smiths out as I possibly can. So I'm going to be building priest smiths every turn for almost always. And that's going to leave very little room to build other guys. I will need to acquire additional commanders, but I'll try and fit them in as best I can. The spy, I'm going to head down towards this throne to try and discover what it is. Myself, Belmus, he'll just do research because, well, there's very much utility in actually site searching your capital province. I think it's very, very unlikely as you'll find something useful. There's nothing for him to forge, and he's got great research. Yeah, let's talk about research and what my plan for researching is, because there's quite a distinct plan. I'm going to start in construction. I want to get to level 4. Okay, this opens up a lot of options for me. it allows me to get those boots that increase my earth magic, and when I can make those boots, I can just basically increase the earth magic with an item for all my priest-smiths, and that just opens up another great amount of spells as well. Legions of Steel is sweet as well, and if I give some boots to the priest-smiths with level 3, they can cast Legions of Steel. That gives a protection bonus above my already highly protected guys, so that'll be just a general buff I'll use all around. And I'll stop when I get to construction of magic items 4, and then I'll head towards evocation. What I'm looking for in evocation is Iron Darts are a spell that's unique to Ulm, Kylan in blue. They're okay, level 3, that's fine. But where is it here? I'm looking for Gifts from Heaven. Is also actually quite fun. That's a 3 meteor strike. My main guy will be able to cast that. That's pretty good. Iron Blizzard is great. Level 6 is quite hard to get to. That's a bit expensive. I'm not seeing it here. There's Blade Wind. Blade Wind's also really good. This is a spell again at level 3, so I'm going to need to give boots to my priest-smiths and be able to cast this. But if I can get 6 priest-smiths and cast this spell, this does a lot of damage. And it really opens up a whole avenue for my priest-smiths to actually be viable spellcasters, at least I think, in the game that I want to be playing in. Hurricane is also a spell that my main guy will be able to cast. It's a ritual, it's a jerk spell. Depending on how I'm feeling and what my guy's up to, there is definitely potential for me to cast hurricanes on my enemies. Or maybe, friends who have not yet become enemies. It depends on what my neighbors are. So that's the plan when I get up to level 5. So I'm first going to go to construction level 4, then evocation up to level 5. When I get to level 5, I might push onward to level 6 to get Iron Blizzard. That's also a really good spell. Otherwise, I might just look into some of the other paths and see if there are some nice things that I can take. There are a few things in Thaumaturgy, but I think Gnome Law is here somewhere. Maybe it's not, but Augury is here. It uses to the caster pause all no pile of soil from this province and sets blaze. The flickering flame reveal all hidden sites of fiery power in the province. Again, this is for fire sites. You've got Horospex, which is for nature sites. Scrying Pool, I think, is for water sites. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, they're basically spells in this game that you can cast that will reveal all magic sites of that particular type in a particular province. So when you've got a bunch of spellcasters, you can just have them all spam these spells, and it's a fairly effective way of finding magic sites, and I might go down that way, but we'll see. What's also really exciting about this map is that there's this huge cluster of thrones just a little bit north of me, and I might really be able to go to town on these. And so if I can get this throne and these 4 up here, that might put me in a position to really try and basically maybe secure a victory. I guess in a free-for-all, you really don't want to rise too fast. You don't want to be clearly the most powerful player, because then everybody just rages into you. You kind of want to, especially at the start of a free-for-all, you want to position for maybe the 2nd or 3rd powerful, wait for everybody to tear down his number 1, and then you can usually try and push and secure for victory. I have no idea where anyone is at this point. Until I know who my neighbors are, I think I'm going to refrain from sending messages. That's how you do it. You can send a message in the game, and don't really have anything to say. But I remember seeing DasTactic. He's playing Man. He suggested the idea that Ulm and Man make traditional or thematic allies. So no, I think I'll wait until next turn at least to send him a message, figure out who my neighbors are, and then try and bother who to be diplomatic with, who to target as enemies, and figure out where to exactly invade. The plan is to really just secure the cap circle, or either rotate this way or rotate that way. It all depends on which is the weakest site, but I really want to get the cap circle as quickly as possible. So let's make sure this. Oh yeah, I can prophetize this guy. He's not the best guy to prophetize, but it does open up Smite, and I don't really have a better idea on who to become a prophet, so I think I'm going to do that. He's on research. I've got my recruit units on. That's basically all I'm looking to do. Another neat thing about being able to forge is that there are also a whole slew of items that can increase the magic path, and I'll probably try and get this guy a bunch of them. That'll really open up opportunities to craft magic items. I might have to go to the next level of construction to make those available. I don't quite know if we can get to that by turn 50, but that definitely might be an option. For water magic, I did mention Quagmire as an option. Storm, I just wanted to absolutely make sure Storm was viable. That's why I'm level 4 in air. But to get to level 4 in water, I will need some water robes that will give me the ability to cast that spell. And that's definitely an option of consideration. Otherwise, it's Gifts of Heaven to cast, and a bunch of jerk spells. But really, I want this guy to... Maybe I'm really overestimating the ability of Storm, but as super duper melee guys, if I can just, with one spell, just no flying units, ranged units ineffective, that just, I think that's going to give you a huge advantage, and I hope it turns out that way. So, Prophet, Research, Sneak, making sure I haven't omitted anything. So, this is the end of the recording for my pre-turn 1. And I hope you guys enjoy my video, and I hope you stick to it. Links to every other person's playlists will be in the chat video description. And yeah, please leave comments. Tell me what I'm doing. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Call me an idiot. And all those things. Okay, thanks for hanging around. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.